Good evening, good evening to all those who are now joining. Good evening. Welcome to this Dr. Matthews-Bey show. This is Dr. Matthews coming to you live from the Southwest Mexium. And to those who are now joining, share the live, share the live, share the live, share the live to those who are now joining. I want to welcome all those who are taking their time out to join and to make sure that you keep on sharing the live. Share the live, share the live, share the live. Okay, so Islam to you, my Moorish brothers and sisters, Islam. As I said yesterday, and I'm going to keep on saying it, and we'll keep on informing you about the conditions of Williams Caribbean Shipping and Delivery Services, and they continued, and my continued protests against the holding and detaining of my shipments of goods that would have come to me, and they're doing this on behalf of the plight of the People's Progressive Terrorists Party. As Dr. Matthews-Bey, I will not succumb to anyone who would try to not only enslave me but violate my rights as a noble. So I'm going to keep giving you the updates on the particular shipment that I have not received so far, and I will keep on updating you and to let you know my position on debunking and also exposing Williams Caribbean Shipping and Delivery Services. I presume that they're in the Caribbean, and I'm going to make sure that I keep on exposing them. They support a terrorist movement. They fund and support a terrorist movement who would terrorize Aboriginal and Indigenous persons. And one of the organizations that they support financially and intelligently, it is the People's Progressive Terrorists Party in the Corporation of Guyana, who is currently the CEO that runs the Corporation of Guyana. So I will keep on informing you on that prospect. Otherwise than that, share the live to those who are now joining. This is Dr. Matthews-Bey. Inform them that Dr. Matthews-Bey is in the house. In the house. I had promised a couple of persons that whenever I'm on the show, I will raise some issues that are required to be raised. And I think that's more or less for some persons who wants to be involved in the growth of the process of undoctrinating the indoctrinated. So I want to say welcome to you all of those who are joining, and I appreciate you. I will keep on exposing the truth, and that's one of my abilities. In studying Aboriginal studies, artifacts, and etymology of words, I've come to realize a whole lot of things. And one of the main things, I've come to the realizations of a whole lot of things. And one of the main things is the use of words. One of them I've gotten to realize that we have opened our own portals. And one of the main aspects of knowing that is that we don't know. We don't know that a door, DOOR, that we have in our homes, in our offices, public places are portals. Because you think you know what is behind the door because you're accustomed using that door on a daily basis, but every time you open that door and you close it, you open the portal and you close the portal behind you. You see, information has gotten so secretive that you have to pay your life for it. And we work so hard to pay just for information. And I'm going to show you one of the few reasons. Firstly, when our children are born, before they started attending school, we are the first teachers. We taught them how to start thinking, how to walk, how to smile, how to, what to say when you're hungry, how to play. And it was free. We got to think of the backward situation that we're in. Excuse me. We got to think about the backward situation that we're in. And one of the backward situations that we're in, our edification process to our children are so free that they don't have to pay for it. We ourselves don't even have to pay for it. But suddenly when they meet of age, we have to pay. And I wonder why. Why do we have to pay? Show you for one instance. To those parents who have the process of knowledge and edification standards, we are the true teachers of our children. We are the ones who designate to teach our children. We don't. We send them to school. We send them to private schools. We pay the private schools to teach them. We send them to universities. When we are the only ones that can give them that doctorate, that master's degree, that PhD. We are the only ones who can give them that. But the minute we have to send them to a university, send them to a college, to be not only edified, but to be certified, that means we are unable to edify or educate our children. But the right word is edify and not educate. To those who study the etymologies and those who start looking at it, since I'm on the show, you realize to educate is an animalistic form of edification. That's why it's a lesser version. Educate is a lesser version than educate or edify. It's two different spelling, two different pronunciations. So why do I bring this up? Because we educate animals. So if we in the third world countries cannot rise above a third grade education, that means we are an animal. That's how they teach us in school. They tell us in school that we are the, how should I put it over? Oh, brother. We are the most supreme intelligent being on earth. Or out of the animal group. We're living organisms. That's how they describe us. But we're not living organisms. We are a combination of all these things that you call a living soul. We're elements and intelligences combined together on this earth. On the earth that we live, there are elements that are on one side and there are intelligences that are on the other side. But we are the only supreme living souls. Out of every ethnic group, we are the only ones that not only has come into this world as living souls with a heightened sense of capabilities, but we also have a pineal gland which no other race, no other human race has. But because they are the offspring of us, they have no, they mightn't have pineal gland, but they're also the lesser versions of us. So it's the same thing. So now we who are the most equipped beings on this earth, the living souls, we now end up holding the lesser versions of everything. How did we get to this stage? Because of an education process and not an edification process. The process of education is on the 3rd grade level, which we teach animals. We teach animals how to sit on their hind legs, how to award them every time they do something that's good, so the animals become a product of their master. You look at it. The animals become a product of their master. You train a horse or a dog or a sheep, a lamb, a goat, you name it. We train these animals to do the things we want. And when they get better with it, then they become a product of their master. So we issue them a master's degree. Or they become a pedigree. You either become a pedigree or you become a master's degree, or you have a PhD, or you have a doctorate. Yes. But the minute you see your process of a self-edification process and you certify yourself, then, oh, you can't do that. Why do you think A. Fraud is laughing at a lot of us? Well, I mean, he himself is a convict. You know, these people, you have to denote them. You have to not only denote them, but you have to comprehend their connotation of linguistics so you can comprehend what they're saying. You have to open your eyes, people, because we are in a period of misinformation, of indoctrination, and complete lies. I told a friend a couple of years ago when I started doing some more reading and studying up on the historical factors of Aboriginal people. I came to realize that a lot of things are faults that were handed to us. So I asked that friend, I said, what if you wake up one morning and realize that everything you have lived your whole entire life is a complete lie? I asked her that. Her response to me, no, but then, oh brother, she was fired up. She nearly swung off my entire head. But now we're in a constant conversation because the truth started to trickle down very slowly. And you know, when the truth started to trickle down very slowly to those who were heavily indoctrinated, and our eyes become open, it's like a wildfire. You just can't believe all this evidence is right there and I couldn't see it. You know what is it to recognize the truth? Do you know what is it that to have that unbearable anxiety? Not only to recognize the truth, but to tell it to others. Do you know what is it to feel that anxiety? Ooh. It becomes a hell of a hobble. Do you know that everything that you eat, sleep, walk, work, learn, church, everything is a complete lie? But they have to indoctrinate you slowly. They have to start you at a tender age. So that's why they say to you, have 3 months maternity leave, When that 3 months maternity leave is over, come back to work. But because you have no one to take care of your child, you send that child to daycare. And the daycare starts the first level of indoctrination. And as daycare starts the first level of indoctrination, they move on from there to the second level, to what you call preschool indoctrination. And at preschool indoctrination, they take you to the primary level. And primary level gives you a higher form of indoctrination, and they take you to secondary level. And secondary level takes you to a more unique form indoctrination. And after secondary level, they take you to university. And university now gives you a more embedded level of indoctrination. And they certify you. And they tell you now to go back into society and teach your fellow brothers and sisters your levels of indoctrination. For you, you know what you're doing. You think you're doing the right thing for the right cause. But that's the fact. And when that happens, you know that you suddenly become lost. I'm going to show you one instance. You go to church and you're taking what you call you're taking teachings of the Bible. The members, they call themselves missionary, and then they go to you and they teach you certain things, and they ask you the most magical question. They say to you now, do you believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God? And you will say, yes, I do believe. I strongly believe Jesus Christ is the Son of God. Remember now, you're now taking the teachings. So the word belief, it is not only the political or the religious level of indoctrination, but it's a more spiritual level of indoctrination. Because when you use the word belief, it means to doubt. Do you doubt that Jesus Christ is the Son of God? Yes, I do. But they're not going to use the word doubt. They're going to use the word belief, from which the word derived from doubt. So when you say, yes, I do believe, then you become baptized unto water, which is the breath of life. You already have it. Why do you have to rebaptize? I already have the breath of life. So they now tell you, you now become a Christian. You now become a Christ-like person. Like arose from the word Chris, and Chrissy, and Krish, from the language that we now know as Swahili. So when you use the word Christ, it means to be there of royalty. So you believe that Jesus is the Christ, yes. But he was never the Christ. He was never of royalty. Because the word Jesus doesn't exist. It's just a name. It's not considered to be the person. When we check back into the chemethology and Moorish teachings and Bantu teachings, you realize that the word Yahweh and bin Yahweh, Yeshua, all these words came down to different languages, and it spoke of a man that teaches truth and peace, which are known in those days, or to now, we call them prophets. And in those days, there were never no teachings of the Son of God because we were all seen as children, sons and daughters of the Almighty Creator. So there weren't no special one. We were all created in His own image and likeness. There is no God because God means government of a democratic system. So when you go on your knees and you ask God for forgiveness, who would think you're praying to? You're praying to the Supreme Being? You're not. Words are molding powers. They were created to give allegiance to mankind. So when I call you king, that is what you are, because I'm making an allegiance. I'm crowning you as king. So when you say Almighty God, you're praying to the government, which is the church. When you say the Lord, you're giving credence to the church. Because if you check, when you go to places like in England and you address the royal family, there are those who you have to call lords in the chambers of the royal family. It is the same spelling. Those are the same people that you pray to. Lord Griffin, Lord this, Lord that, Baroness this, Baron. These are the people that you pray to. So I got down some more into syllables. And we moved away from the government of the democratic system, which means God. So I moved away from the belief comprehension, because to comprehend what is the belief is to doubt. So it's like you're going before the courts, and the courts is asking you a particular question. Do you believe that the laws of the country are there to correct you in certain ways when you disobey them? Yes. And then you would say, yes, I do. And the magistrate will laugh at you and say, look at you. You're a nuisance to society. It's like they asked a question to the Amerindians, do you believe that you're an Amerindian, or do you believe that you are indigenous? They said they believe they're both. So you can't win the case because you're still doubting in 2013. It's like the name Jehovah. I was coming up in church and I realized that they spoke about Jehovah, and I'm saying, wow, that's the name of the Almighty Creator. That's God. I didn't thought that. And I sing songs unto Jehovah, praises unto Jehovah. I prayed in the name of Almighty Jehovah. Then when I started going through the scriptures, then I get to realize there were different names. But one that outstanding the most was Jehovah. And I researched on Jehovah. It means God of war. It's a European myth. Jehovah means God of war. So that's why when they wage war on nations, they have their gods to support them. The God of Jehovah, the church, the Son of Jehovah, Christ, Jesus Christ, or Jesus Christ. The painting that they say that looks like him is Michelangelo, which we call Michael the Archangel. But it's Michelangelo. Michelangelo, who was a lover of King James. I mean, well, whichever one you want to call, if you want to call him Queen James or King James, same thing. Do you comprehend where I'm coming from? Where is all these teachings? It's right there in plain sight. I asked a friend, I said, go on the internet. Type in Council of Nicaea in 1845. Tell me what you find. Come back to me and said, all of that took place? He said, yes. I said, and where it is? On the internet. The truth is hidden in plain sight. They put the truth out there, there are those who are hardliners that will not teach us the truth, but they will teach us the indoctrinated level of the truth, which is the lie. Switch to run, feed you it. Take your spirituality, put it in a book, doctrinate it properly, and they call it the Bible. And they say, oh, it's basic instructions before leaving Earth. That's a complete lie. It's a Greek word, means a library. That's what the Bible means. It's Greek. It means library. It means a compilation of records that are being stored for purposes of an edification process. It's a library. So we've been reading a library all the time that was there on the earth for thousands of years. We call it God's holy book. It is God's holy book. It is the government of the democratic system. It is their holy book. They're the ones who created it. They sit on this information and they create governments on this information, which they call themselves nobles. And then we go every 5 years, 6 years, or 4 years and cast our ballots. Cast our ballots. Cast our lives. Cast our trusts in another man to tell me how I must live. That's what a democratic system is. So when we cast our ballots, our lives, our trust, our families, we put them into the hands of politicians via way of a piece of paper that we call a ballot, putting an X on it. We give them all rights and authority over us, because we don't know how to live life. They're the noble ones. They're the few. They're the chosen few. And because they're the few and true now, they teach us now how to live life by creating what you call laws. They don't want to tell us the laws is based upon what we see. They're going to jot everything down and to see how we live by it. And if we complain, or they will take note based upon the things that comes out of our mouth and create laws in that aspect. But eventually, remember, they cannot be prosecuted because we gave them the right. They prosecute us based upon the things that comes out of our mouth. And they say, well, that's the Constitution. They don't want to tell us that the Constitution is us, the living souls. They would say it's a piece of paper with some words written on it. My question is, if there's no one to constitute your laws, who you governing? If there's no credible, or if there's no certified Guyanese, as I mentioned yesterday in a statement to a person, he says, so what are you doing living in Guyana? I said, Guyana doesn't exist by itself. The corporation of Guyana cannot exist by itself. It has to have subjects. So he didn't know what I'm talking about. So I said, look, if you comprise all 780,000 Guyanese that they said that we got living in Guyana, you bundle them up together, you take away all their ID cards and passports and everything. There's nothing to identify them as Guyanese. And they're left in the position in where they are. Where is Guyana? Let's say everybody refused to go and renew the passport and the ID card, refused to do business with GR. Pick sense out of nonsense. Is there a Guyana? No, there's no Guyana. Because in order for Guyana to exist, you have to identify yourself as Guyanese. If there's no one to identify themselves as a Guyanese, then where does the corporation is? It's null and void. It's a figment of one's imagination. It's an illusion. That's why you call it a corporation. Corporation belongs to illusionistic economic purposes. Yes, that's what corporations are. Commerce. Commerce is an illusion. That's why the money is fiat. It's an illusion. The only way the currency of the Bank of Guyana can have validity, weight, it can have meaning is if the population works for it. If the population doesn't work for it, it has no meaning. That's why it has to circulate in order for it to have money, has to circulate in order for it to have power, in order for it to have meaning, in order for it to have value. It has to keep circulating because people have to work for it. If nobody's working for it, it has no value. It becomes null and void. Sounding brass and a tingling cymbal. So if there's no Guyanese to the corporation of Guyana, there's no corporation. We are all considered indigenous. Think, check it. Check up and see what I'm talking about. Ask yourself if I'm making sense or not. Let us say everybody decides to dump tools tomorrow. Boom. Nobody works. Let us say you take the full 7 days, from Saturday to next week Saturday. 7 days, nobody works. The country stands still. It collapses. You know why? The country depends upon the working class to keep it alive, the corporation. So if nobody works in 7 days, the economy collapses. Billions of dollars are being lost because there's nobody working for it. Nobody wants to do nothing with it. So there's no Bank of Guyana, there's no Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Education, no Ministry of Finance, no nothing, no president, no vice president. Who are you governing? If nobody's coming out to work for anything, who are you governing? The police can't go pull them out of the house to work. You comprehend what I'm saying? These things cannot happen unless we decide to make it happen, unless we go to the polls and vote, unless we give them permission to govern over our lives, unless we give them permission to stress us out and oppress us some more. These things cannot happen unless we give them authority to make it happen. Like the guy was saying, but I can't give up me Guyanese citizenship because I got money in the bank that belongs to me. I say, you know, I asked him, I said, you have millions of dollars in the bank? He says, yes. I asked him, I said, does any one of those notes that you have in the bank name Bank of Carl Greenwich or Bank of Jason Bourne? No. Says Bank of Guyana. Legal tender notes. It doesn't even have your signature on it. So it does not belong to you. It belongs to the corporation of Guyana. So he says, well, what can I do in order to have some sort of wealth? I said, well, take the same currency that you have and buy wealth with it. There's a difference in wealth and riches. Wealth is when you have something to pass down from generation to generation. Riches is what can't even last for a lifetime. Today you make it, tomorrow it's all gone. You own nothing. So he said, what can I have as a legal currency? Ah. And I said, question well asked. Gold and silver. Those are the two legal currencies worldwide. Lawful currency, you call it. Gold and silver does not deteriorate. It's a natural resource from the earth. Gold and silver. Yes. That's the legal currency, but they're not going to tell you that. You know what we do? We wear it around our necks and our fingers, you know, putting gold teeth, piercing with gold earring, and all these things. Some of we got gold eyelashes. But the mere fact is that that's a legal tender note. So instead of we use it as a currency, we use it as an adornment in addressing ourselves with it, not knowing how valuable it is. So we walk down the road with all our wealth hanging from our necks and our hands and our fingers, and the criminal turns up and takes it off. He gone with all. But the thing is that the gold that we so seek in our desires to have and to wear is our legal currency. But they're not going to teach you that because we are third-rate standard people or animals. 2/3 of a human being, that's an animal. And that's the position they put us on, telling us that we're 2/3 of a human being all the time. But it's the same thing. What are you? Who are you? I'm 2/3 of a human being. Oh, I didn't know that. Constantly, we have to be aware of some of the things that are dear to us and some of the things that are not so dear to us. What is that? Knowledge. We need to start looking at ourselves. We need to start paying focus on what is going on around us. We keep telling ourselves, oh, we cannot afford to live, we can't afford to do this, we can't afford to do that. Yes, I comprehend. I cannot afford to do a lot of things, but I will not stop teaching you the truth. That's what makes us overcome certain things. And when we do this in unity and in unison, when we support each other, then we see the value of the single living soul. That person that you call a man or a woman. Then we see the value. We can't look at them in the values pertaining to money. Cannot work. We got to look at them in pertaining to the value of knowledge. Because money can just distort you, blind your sight, because that's what money can do. You see, there's so many things that are before us that can enlighten us, that we need to take cognizance. We can't know the truth and don't want to live it. We keep lying to ourselves. And as we lie to ourselves, we deteriorate because we know the truth is like, it's being like on channel 2, but you know you're broadcasting to channel 3. But you hold on to channel 2 because you don't want persons to think that you're there in channel 3. And what happens? It deteriorates you inwardly, spiritually. And as you deteriorate, you become a dead person. So they call you a human being. There are a lot of us who knows the truth to be keep, and because we know the truth, we're considered a human being because we don't teach it. We're dead. To those who doesn't know the truth are better off than us, who knows the truth and pretend to don't know the truth. Because we die quicker. We not only die a physical death, but a spiritual one. And if you check the scripture, it details upon that. He said, for the scripture says, for there are no condemnation to those that are in the truth, that those who are in the truth are not of the truth. You can be condemned. But when we say condemn, you think, oh, you're going to hell. No, you're condemning your own self. Spiritually, you're killing yourself. To know that you know the truth, but you don't want to speak of the truth. You're killing yourself. That's the fact. But because the lies, okay, how should I put it over? Commerce is to operate under a fiction of lies, a figment of one's imagination. Propaganda, that's commerce. Lies are commerce. Politics is lies. It's a form of commerce. So if you don't know, let me tell you that now. Economy is lies. It's a form of commerce. You have to lie in order to have economy that grows. You check it. You control the mainstream media, that's an economy by itself. Information. And you can tell the world whatever you want to tell. Bunch of lies. Check what I'm telling you. Ask yourself if what I'm saying to you today makes sense or not. Lies is an investment. Let me show you what I recognize. I can remember in court, right before I became a naturalized citizen, instead of, before I surrendered my Guyanese citizenship. I looked at my lawyer and the prosecutor exchanging words over my condition, as seeing myself as an outcast or a criminal, or I don't know what's the fate of my soul as in court. And I watch my lawyer and a prosecutor, the police prosecutor with the Charles Ransom case, exchanging a more or less a funny moment. And I looked at the magistrate responding to that funny moment. And then I realized my lives were in the hands of 3 people. My lawyer, the magistrate, and the prosecutor. Then I comprehend to myself, well, in other words, it means that who could reason best wins the case. You can imagine if I have a lawyer who doesn't know to reason best. Imagine if I have a lawyer who doesn't know to do researches best. Imagine if I have a lawyer who doesn't know to articulate a common language of law best. And when I mean a common language of law best, I mean a common language. Because in law, there is a language that we call lawful constructive words for cases. And those lawful constructive words could only be sought out of one particular language, is English. That's why English is a language of commerce. They use words like res judicata. if you've been able to reason properly in a language that they cannot rebut, whatever you say is final, becomes res judicat, judicate or judicat. These particular instances in my life opened my eyes because I saw things that flashed before my eyes. I now see why people end up in prison, in jail, because you do not know how to represent yourself, because you do not comprehend how is it to read and to write and to comprehend. Some of us, we say we know to read. We read in newspapers every day, but you're not reading. If you comprehend the word read, then you realize that you should use it. Because reading is a source and a part of comprehension. You have to comprehend when reading. If you're reading and you cannot comprehend, well, then you're not reading. You're only identifying the words. You call it reading. But you have to comprehend the words. Some of us, we sit down and we read. Oh, we're going through the words. Like in front of me now, it says StreamYard Live viewer comments show up on StreamYard. And I tell myself, oh yeah, I understand what it says. But no, I don't comprehend what it says, because you know why? I have to check out and see what StreamYard is. I have to research what is the meaning of the word StreamYard. Like, I can remember reading about the word algorithm, and I'm saying, what's an algorithm? What's a platform? But when I did my research, I was shocked. Because everybody that participates in this slave system, this commerce system, the system of corporations, lives and breathes algorithm. And you don't even know. A lot of us don't even know that we live and breathe algorithm. It is set there for you to live your life that way. And the people who controls the algorithm is what makes the money. Because it's an illusion. Algorithm is an illusion. You have to live by illusions. That's what's up. I mean, I'm sorry to put it over that way, but I like being straight up. I love being straight up. Because if you're not straight up, then people never overstand you. People will never comprehend what you're saying. You not only got to be who you are, but you got to be the right person when you're exercising your rights. Like when I got up here yesterday, I spoke a bit about William Shippens. I had an earlier post, and someone called me and they said, man, you know, black brother gotta eat. And I told him, I said, you're right, the black brother has to eat because he's black, but I'm not. You considering yourself black? And trying to tell me, man, Dr. Matthews, I understand what you're saying. I said, yes, if you comprehend what I'm saying, why cannot understand what you say? And through that source of correction, he had to calm down and he said, well, you know what? I know the type of person you are, so I have to reconstruct the statement. Then he did. But I told him, I said, I'm not going to give William Shipping a free pass to violate my rights. I'm very serious. I'm not going to give them a free pass to what? Continue to violate my rights? No, I cannot. So I said, I will keep on doing it until when I get what belongs to me. Even if they have to repay a full substance that's in that container, that's what they will have to do. That's what they will have to do. Because the corporation in which they run does not exercise the will of the people. You want to bully people. No, I don't take bullying. Nobody's going to bully me. What I'm going to do is make an example out of them. And I will continue to do so. It takes me a year from now, 2 years from now. And if that's a process of running them out of business, well, so be it. You got to choose the wrong. You can't choose the wrong person to pick a fight with and want clemency. I've given them the time. Now they have exceeded that time. Nobody's going to bully me. I'm not going to give anybody permission to bully me either. So I say this without remorse. Williams Caribbean Shipping's delivery service is an arm of the People's Progressive Terrorist Party. They enjoy the courage of terrorizing their own people throughout the Caribbean because of some small political favor. Well, let me tell you this. It is the people everyone depends on to do business with. All governments, all private sectors. They depend upon the people. You want to tell you why? You watch at every election time. You look at every election time. They come out in droves. And then they put their slaves out there to come to convince you. When you spend whole year watching them destroying you, then they come in to convince you if you put them in there for another 5 years for them to destroy you some more. That's why they do what they do, because they see us as idiots and stupid. They see us as third class people. They see us that way. They realize we can't think outside the box because we got to depend upon others to teach us outside of the box. We don't want to read and comprehend the real thing or the issues that surrounds the real thing or the real deal. Sometimes it leads me to wonder how do I fit it into this tyranny of terror to deliver my people from it. Sometimes I wonder, and I realize that I gotta keep on doing what I'm doing all the time. Coming on my program, teaching you about the things, letting you know it's time to wake up because you've been living a life for far too long. Some of us are born in it, we die in it, we don't even know where we're going from it. My humble suggestion, as most of us are being reincarnated, to come back, not to live the lie, but to refine the lies from you. And to see where your duty is as a living soul to your fellow mankind. because that's the only purpose and reason for living. My motto is, the wealth of a man is not what he builds, gains, or buys, but it's the ability to change lives. And I say that I, Dr. Matthews-Bey, will be the enforcer of the truth and of the Constitution, which is the people. And I will stand my ground to recognize and represent the people. I say this to say you that that is the only thing that is worthwhile of not only dying for, but sacrificing for. And I say to you that this program comes to you with the kind of compliments of Events Management Services, Greenleaf Distributors, and Black Love. I am Dr. Matthews-Bey, and this is Dr. Matthews-Bey Show, and I say to you to stay safe, be careful, sanitize yourself, wear a mask. Don't forget the little ones when you take them into public places. Anyone who wants to get on to me, please use the number at the bottom of the screen, 592-611-6575. Good night, and Cheerios for now.